Hi everyone. Today I'm going to do a 5th grade harmony and I'm just going to complete the harmony. I will talk through what I'm doing while I'm doing it, but I won't stop over every single detail. By this stage, if you're at this level, there's a lot of things that a lot of the basics you will already understand. So if anyone is still not sure about just the mechanics of 4-part harmony, then you can go and visit some of the 4th grade videos that will help deal with some of those elements. So for 5th grade, basically we have a cadential 6/4 cadence to deal with. We have passing notes, both neighbour and passing notes to add. We have some cliche harmonic procedures, the use of chord 7 in first inversion. And what else have we got? Use of inversions. So I'm going to dive in. And here we go. Watch me go. All right. So first things first. Last cadence. Start at the end. Now, the first thing you're checking is to see whether or not we can use the cadential 6/4. So what is that? So that's a little formula where you use chord 1, second inversion, going to chord 5, going to chord 1. So I'm in B flat major, so just pop the bass in straight away. All right. Now this only works right now is because the melody supports it, right? So D belongs to chord 1, chord 5, chord 1. So the AMY-B, think of this sort of a bit of a traditional way of looking at it, where it's chord 1, second inversion, going to chord 5, going to chord 1. Really, what you'll find in tertiary institutions is that this 1C chord is really an extension of chord 5. So there are some theorists who do like to view this in a different way, but for graded theory exams, this is the way they tend to do it. So I'm just going to stick to that. All right, so I'm trying to complete the bass line. I've started with the cadence, all the cadences. Typically, we probably want an interrupted cadence on this third phrase. Does that get supported? Yep, that gets supported. So that works. So traditionally, like the third phrase is kind of a diversionary phrase where we kind of go to this diversionary chord where chord 6 substitutes for chord 1. So instead of returning to chord 1, we go to chord 6 instead. What's commonly referred to as an interrupted cadence. My first two phrases here, they are moving to chord 5. So I'll just pop that in. That's going to be pretty straightforward. And this one here, because I've got the E flat there, I can see an opportunity to go chord 4 in first inversion, stepping down to 5. So that'll give me a bit of variety there. All right, so with cadences outlined, I might start at the beginning and now work my way through. And again, completing the bass line first. All right, now, whenever you see, here we go, 3, 2, 1. This is a bit of a cliche here. So to understand what this is about, if you see 3, 2, 1 in the melody, then you can literally go 1, 2, 3 in the bass. Now, of course, it depends how you deal with this. So, why is this a cliche? So, basically, what's going on here is here's an awesome and fantastic opportunity to make use of contrary motion with a harmonic solution. So we start in chord 1, and basically we're heading to chord 1 first inversion. So it extends tonic harmony, but we have this, what's really a passing chord in between, an embellishing chord, an embellishing passing chord. Now this can be treated as chord 5. This could be chord 5 second inversion. So we would call that a passing 6/4. 6/4 just refers to second inversion. So when you put the triad into close position above the fifth of the chord, you're adding a fourth and a sixth, so 6/4 chord. Or we can follow some of the things that the Amy B have been trying to teach, and that is the use of chord 7B. So if I use 7B here, then I'll come back and harmonise that when I add the other voices, and that's when we'll get into our little unequal fifth moment there. Moving along, I'm seeing a good opportunity for scale motion here, up to chord 4. That's very nice, with the third of the chord in the melody. Contrary motion to these octaves, that will be really nice. Again, I can't stress, the use of contrary motion, the use of oblique motion. See how this remains the same while I have the bass stepping up. Coming into this final chord in contrary motion. They're all the harmonic ideals that help make each individual voice move differently. The problem with harmony at a more elementary level is that you don't get to explore the counterpoint as much. But ultimately, it should be the potential for polyphony amongst the voices and individual movement of each of the four voices. But that's a skill that takes a long time to develop. Anyway, enough of that said. Let's keep moving so that this doesn't become too boring for people. All right, so starting here with first inversion, I'll probably make that chord 1 first inversion, going to 4. Again, playing with contrary motion. You see, I'm always looking for contrary motion wherever I can. Both contrary motion, scale motion in the bass, means that I create independent voices and avoid consecutives. All of the things we're trying to do. I'm going to take that. That works very well. All right. Moving on. Sorry, I'll make sure I keep explaining what I'm doing while I go. Chord 2. Starting here on chord 2. Chord 6 works. Then I'm going to come down to first inversion of chord 1 so I can step up. I do want to say something about the use of first inversion just while I'm here. The ideal with first inversion is that you can... I use the term resolve because I do see first inversion as an imbalance of the original root position outlined by the perfect fifth. The third of the chord, the middle note of the root position triad, is that sensitive note. And when you place that into the bass voice, here's chord 1, right? B flat major triad, B flat, D, F, and I'm putting the D into the bass voice. It's much more sensitive, vulnerable, emotional harmony. The ideal is to be able to move by step to a root position chord. That's where you get the scale motion in the bass. And it's very satisfying. And when that works, as this does in contrary motion, absolutely fantastic. Where am I heading next? So, I'm making a little bit of use of chord 2 here, but that's fine. Again, contrary motion. So I'm really making the most of that. Now, of course, at this level of harmony, I'm already checking in my mind for consecutives. And I can tell you with the amount of contrary motion I have going here, I barely even need to check it. But I am very conscious. 3 octave, 5th, 3, 3, 6, 5, right? So I'm taking a mental note of that while I'm doing it, just so that I'm aware that I haven't missed any potential consecutives. Anyway, move on, John. Don't sit here and rave too long, otherwise we'll all fall asleep while you're doing it. Again, use of chord 5 first inversion, and look, stepping to chord 1. I can't stop myself from talking about it. Chord 5 first inversion going to chord 1. Such a satisfying resolve, and with the contrary motion. Sounds amazing. At the end of this video, stay tuned, because I'm going to just play this with some string samples so we can hear what it sounds like. Moving down to chord 6 as I try to find a way of approaching the cadential 6/4 cadence here. But B flat to D, that's a third. G to B flat, that's a third. So everything's moving fine. That's in sixths. I trust everyone understands that there is no need, just because there's passing notes in the melody, you don't have to harmonize every single note, but I would assume at this level people are aware of that. Now this will give me a chance, absolute cliche, to be leading in, chord 2 first inversion, leading into that cadential cadence. Very traditional, very satisfying, works like a treat. Okay, so got that. I will add some passing notes. There's, look, plenty of spaces to add some passing notes. Honestly, you can have a third fest wherever anything's a third apart. You can add a passing note. It's kind of satisfying. It's a bit like bursting the bubble when you have that bubble wrap stuff, and you want to burst every single bubble, every single potential passing note. I'm not missing out any. Any more I've missed? Oh, here's. Yes. Look at this. Oh wait. I don't know. I see a possibility that I could literally run this down like that, but I better check, because there's passing notes. When you have 2 passing notes and 2 voices, just make sure they're a third or a sixth apart, otherwise it's just going to sound disgusting. So they're a third apart, so that's pretty good, and I get a nice little scale run. Scale motion in the bass voice is fantastic. See, look at this. Scale, 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 scale. Right? That's nailing the business, as we say. Okay. I have my bass line, and I think I'm pretty happy with that. Hopefully I haven't missed a consecutive in here, but I think I'm pretty good. Time now to add, so just operating my software here. So I'm going to chuck a bunch of notes in. They're the wrong ones, so don't panic. I've just put them there because I need to go chord by chord, but if I stick the notes in there, then I can move them around. So this is going to look pretty weird right now. Hang on, everything's going to be fine. So this is chord 1. So I'm just going to move that up to there, and so that'll work. Now, here's where I'm going to do the chord 7B, and we're going to end up with unequal fifths, because I'm using chord 7 in first inversion. So chord 7, of course, in B flat major is a diminished triad. But so because of that, we we can't use it in root position, so we have to use it in first inversion. Okay, and so here we end up with unequal fifths, mainly because, so it's unequal fifths because that's a perfect fifth, and that's actually a diminished fifth, so that's fine, that's accepted. And plus it's on the inner voices, so all's good. Now, wait, is this? No, that doesn't work. Put that up to there. And this tenor voice is moving really well because it's not going anywhere. Neither is the alto, so everything's pretty stable there. And again, if you need to check for consecutives, don't look at my unequal fifths. Let's avoid that. We'll do it elsewhere. That's going down a third, down a second, same, up a second. Any two voices the same? No, they're all different, so I don't have any consecutive fifths or octaves. Right, where am I up to? See if I can go up to the, if I put the G there, I need this tenor high. What am I doing here? This is chord 2. Right, this is chord 2B. Right, so that's 2B going into, so that's one of the other things that you learn at this level is using inversions in actually within cadences. So that's kind of allowed. If people are doing 4th grade, they don't tell you about that. And so they kind of make you do it tough. But that's all good. Wait, I need to fix that can stay there. All right, quick consecutive check. Up, same, down, down a third. So down a third, down a second, same, up a second. Are any two voices the same? No. So I'm fine. Up a third, down a third, same, same. Okay, any two voices? No, that's all good. I'm going to, passing note. Love my passing notes. I should be trying to do a neighbour note. There's got to be somewhere I can do one in there. Here I can do one. So a neighbour note is where you basically move either up or down and then return to the previous note. So that the two notes either side of the offbeat note need to be the same. All right, so it's stepped away and it's returned back to where it came from. Now, they are a sixth apart, those two passing notes, so that's very important. Otherwise, we'd be in trouble. Oh, there's a passing note. Don't miss any. Love my passing notes. All right, so now I'm going to harmonise this, and I think as I do this, I'm going to put them in octave. I see this coming down, but I don't want the alto too high. I need to keep this low. And since the soprano is not getting any higher, it's moving its way down. I should be fine. So I want to treat this as chord 1 first inversion. So that's great. That's going to make it very easy to move into this next chord because the tenor can just move across there. Don't have the third of the chord. Oops, better put one in. So if I go there, check for consecutives, down a second, up a second, same, up a second, 2 upper seconds, but they're a third apart, so we're all good. Next one, where are we going now? I can keep, I can keep the tenor on the third of the chord there. That's probably going to be able to move up. So this, but that would mean this would have to be, whoops, wrong voice. Okay, would that work? This might, no, because that's going to give me consecutive fifths. So if I came down to the D there, let's look at the consequences of this. Down a second, down a fourth, same, up a third. Were any two voices the same? No. So I don't have any consecutives, so everything's pretty fine to do that. So I'm going to leave that as it is. Any chance for, oh, look, there's a passing note opportunity. Yes. What have we got now? Chord 1, so definitely keep that one there. I'm going to use a unison here with, I think if I use a unison here with the tenor, that's totally fine. I've got the 3 notes of the triad, so there's nothing wrong with that at all. I just have a unison on the bass voice there. It's a lovely get out of jail free card. Very important to keep an eye on. So that works well. It's nice to bring the bass up. Bach does it all the time. A lot of the times I'm shocked what Bach does with a bass line. Now, how am I going to get around this? Let me try the tenor first. Can I keep... Oops, I just lost... What did I do that for? That was very silly. This is called 4 first inversion. So this might really, really help me, but the only difficulty is I don't want to double the third because it's a primary triad. 1, 4, and 5 you want to try and avoid doubling the third for chord 1, 4, and 5. What would happen if I went up to here? Now the leap of a fourth's not a big deal, but let's just check it. Up a second, up a fourth, same, down a third. Were any two voices the same? No, so it's all fine. But it's just it allows me to approach then this final chord, which is what's worrying me. So sometimes you've got to make your approach, right? It's like trying to land a plane. You got to approach the runway the right way. So if I didn't let that go up, I'm going to end up in trouble. So one of the things I've learned from 4-part harmony over the years is always trying to approach from on high. When you're higher and you have to step down, it's a lot easier than trying to leap up to get yourself out of trouble. Now, am I going to be in trouble if I go a fifth here? So again, check it, down a third, down a second, up a second, down a second. So we have 2 down a seconds. The alto step down a second and the bass step down a second. However, they're a third apart, so we're all good. Moving on, so that we can get through it. Chord 2 we have here. So I think for chord 2, I'm just going to leave that with the 5th of the chord there. That should then allow me to put the root note of the chord. So that's all spaced nicely. Can't have more than an octave gap between the 3 upper voices, but you can have more than a gap. Don't forget, more than a gap. You can have more than a gap between the bass voice and the tenor. Don't let the tenor get low. You see how high I've got my tenor voice? Don't let the tenor voice get too low. You'll get into trouble. All right, what have we got? Now, if I step down here, see, I'm already clocking that I'm stepping the same way as the soprano with this tenor. So I'm already checking that they're a third apart because I know I'm stepping the same way. And the more you become aware of that, the quicker you spot consecutives. See, I've got this alto, oblique motion, best thing in the world. This voice isn't going anywhere. So it's fantastic. Down a second, same, down a second, but they're a third apart, up a fifth. So all very good there. Moving on with the show. Again, chord 1 first inversion. So good. And I have it going to chord 4, which is just going to be magical. But again, don't take anything for granted. Let's make sure that we've checked for consecutive. So down a third. So when I say down a third here, from the B flat down to the G, right? So because that's a passing note in between. So you do need. Sorry, I should say you do need to check passing note against another voice that might be moving the same way. All right. See, because if you look at this, the A is going to step down, but this voice is also stepping down. But they're going to be a third apart, so it's not even a problem. The B flat staying the same, and then the bass is stepping up a voice. So sweet. Now, where am I up to? I've got chord 2 again. I haven't made a lot of use of chord 2, but that's fine. Chord 2. I have balanced that, I think, by a sufficient use of the subdominant as well. Again, I'm going to put that there. Now, I'm moving in here for chord 5. Is this going to cause me any grief? I have a third. I need a third of the chord. So now, if I put that here, silly me. If I put it here, not too sure about this. I think I'm going to get into trouble here. I think, what if I come to the third down here and the fifth? Because they're a sixth apart and then that's a fifth apart. So that is actually going to work. So down a third, but they're a third apart. So that's fine. Up a fourth and down a step. So I think I'm all right there. In fact, if I look at this, I've even got another passing note. Yay. Wow. But we need to land. Now, this is an interrupted cadence because I'm going 5 to 6 here. So that's very important. I need to do this the way, well, in particular, the way the Amy B want it done. So leading note going to rise. So I've got the third there. But of course, this needs to descend because we need 2 voices rising and 2 voices descending. And that means that the alto is going to step down there. Oh, passing note. Yes. Can't have too many passing notes. Have I missed any? I'd be so disappointed if I missed a passing note. That'd just be awful. Where am I up to? Right, okay, final phrase, and here we go. Let's nail this. So, again, I've got chord 5 first inversion here, and again, I want to emphasize, look, I'm resolving that. When you're on a first inversion chord, ideally you want to be able to move by step to a root position chord. It's an ideal. So when you're doing 4-part harmony, some things are ideal and others are necessary. And it's very important to understand that difference. Now, what am I going to do with the tenor? If I have the 5th of the chord there, then I'm coming up to a unison there with the alto. That's okay. Nothing wrong there. Then I think, can I move? Okay, I think I'm in a bit of a spot of bother here. Because if I Right, if I come down to there, I've actually got a problem. I think I'm going to have to unison it. So let's check. Down a third, same. Down a second, up a second. Ah, that's good. But here, down a third. Oh, I haven't finished it yet. Let me finish it. Ooh, I think I'm getting myself out of a bit of a spot of bother here. A little bit tricky. Let's check that. So down a third, up a second, up a third, down a third, and I already checked the two down a thirds. So the soprano goes down a third, and the bass goes down a third. There, my passing notes are a third apart, so that's all good. They end up a fifth between the soprano and the alto, but then that's going to a third, so that's okay. That's a third with. That's good. That's going down a step. So that's just going to thirds, continuing. So I think we're good. Then to finish off, we have. But you see, I need to be really, really careful. So you can't underestimate. It's very hard to miss. Very, very easy to miss consecutives. So you can't underestimate it. Best not to get too smart about it all and too confident, but check thoroughly. Particularly at this level, when you are worried about so much vocabulary, missing the basics. Now, with all I'll say with the 1C51, chord 1 second inversion going to 5, so the traditional way to deal with this is to double the inverted fifth. So the F on the bottom, normally for root position it would be B flat on the bottom, but because it's second inversion, we've got the F on the bottom, which is the same note as chord 5. So they share the same note, and hence why chord 1 second inversion here is treated like, it's almost like an appoggiatura chord that you would see in classical music, the likes of Mozart and Haydn, on the beat. So you resolve into that strong beat with chord 1 second inversion, which is a dissonant chord because it's outlining a fourth between what's the new lowest note and the root note of the chord. So it is considered a dissonant chord, which then has to resolve onto chord 5. But let's not get too carried away. We just want to finish our harmony. And I think we're in a pretty good position here. So that can just fall beautifully. Oh, giving me a passing note. Yes. Cannot have enough passing notes. Wait, have I missed any? If I've missed any passing notes in this harmony, I'm going to cry. I think I'm good. There we go. All right, so there it is. What I'm going to do is I'm going to put some string samples on this so that we can have a listen to it. And you will see it might be boring. It might look boring. But when you hear this, it will sound wonderful. If this was played by a string quartet, it would be absolutely wonderful. All right, so I'm going to leave you with the sound of this harmony. I hope this has been helpful. I just wanted to sort of drag myself through it without taking too long, but obviously they're long, tedious things to do. And I'm trying to explain myself while I go. So hopefully that has helped clarify some issues for you. All right, I'll leave you with the sound of this wonderful 4-part harmony. Enjoy.